and I heard Jason D. Hill, the philosopher, said that the actual instance of trans is 0.06.
I mean, I don't believe there's any actual instance of trans. I don't believe it's that kind of thing. It's a culture-bound syndrome.
You think the whole thing is no, not the not
no,
like
I believe the whole thing is a culture-bound syndrome.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, completely. Because what does it mean to say that a man can really be a woman in fucking Samoa?
So you don't believe that there's anybody like Buck Angel or any of these people who literally have something in their brain?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If Buck Angel had lived in a different society, in what sense could Buck Angel have ever got the idea into Buck Angel's head that they were meant to be a man or were really a man? In what? Obviously a lesbian, right? Obviously a hyper butch lesbian. Those people are a naturally occurring category. What you do with as a hyper butch lesbian depends on the culture you're in. A lot of it not very nice, by the way.
He never had bottom surgery.
Yeah, a lot of it not at all nice. What's done with butch lesbians, like they're forced off to be married. They have to pretend to care about womanly things. I'm not saying that other ways of dealing with it are necessarily good. I'm just saying, of course, Buck would never have got the idea into Buck's head that he was meant to be a man.
So you've really challenged one of my fundamental beliefs now. I just want to make sure I understand this correct.
Yeah.
So this is a culture-bound, the whole thing?
The whole thing is a culture-bound syndrome. So it's exactly like, you've heard of Fa'afafine from Samoa, yeah?
Yeah. Or Koro, I wrote about that in my...
What sense would it make to say, what is the naturally occurring rate of Fa'afafine?
Why don't you tell everybody what...
So Fa'afafine, it's a Samoan category of people, and the words mean in the manner of a woman. So they don't have a category of gay man in Samoa. Men are heterosexual by definition to them. So a man who is gay, or a little boy who looks like he's going to grow up gay, because by the way, very gender non-conforming little boys do grow up much more often to be gay than straight. The base rate is very different of a boy like that, okay? Little boys like that are sort of recognised, thought of as kids who are going to grow up to sleep with men, and to, wear flowers and be a bit, do beauty pageants and wear women's clothes and things. They're not thought of as women. They're thought of as a third category. And that category is in the manner of a woman. That category doesn't exist here at all. So
right,
there's no natural...
like travesti in Brazil.
Yeah, sort of, but that's kind of more sex worky. I lived in Brazil for several years as a foreign correspondent.
It's a great book. I read about that.
But my point is that there's no... to say... what's the naturally occurring rate of trans is exactly the same as to say what's the naturally occurring rate of Fa'afafine. It's a cultural category. There are no Fa'afafine in Ireland, none whatsoever, not one. And there are no trans people in the sense of people who are thought of as being really members of the opposite sex, or man trapped in woman's body, or somebody who should be reclassified as a member of the opposite sex. That simply doesn't exist in most cultures.
Wow, okay. I'm really taking this in.
There are naturally people who are highly atypical for their sex.
Sure. So
but what
that
you do
also
with
means that at no level of technology, brain imaging, etc., could we look and find it because it doesn't exist, because it's a culture-bound syndrome.
I mean, you could definitely see that. You could imagine a future in which you could see in brain scans that this is somebody who has a very unusual feeling. And that feeling is, I was meant to be a man, I was meant to be a woman. But people who have those feelings young are usually grow up to be gay.